Here's one towards the goal. That's going to be gloved by Travis Ridgen. Well, this is more like it.
This is Slangin' the Biscuit. Here's Travis Ridgen and Dave Wheeler.
Ladies and gentlemen, lads and ladies, welcome back inside the greatest hockey show on earth. My name is Travis Ridgen. I spent 4 years playing professional hockey. I'm currently working on my resume post-retirement, trying to get back in the real world. I also like my women like I like my tortillas, white and full. My co-host, I peeled him off the sidewalk this morning from the corner of Ellis and Hargrave, right here in Los Wages, Manitoba, Las Vegas. Man, I sold out. He's also had the top-rated morning radio show in the city of Winnipeg for over 20 years. His name is Dave Wheeler. Welcome back into our show.
Truth be told, I actually just got off the golf course playing 18 holes with my favorite foursome in the world, my wife and my 2 kids. So it's been a good day today. Now I get to talk some hockey.
Rumor has it your oldest whooped your ass, and now it's my turn.
Listen, I look forward to the day that my boy beats me on the golf course. It hasn't happened yet, but I was actually on the golf course with my my golf mentor, we'll call him, Steve Wood, who's at St. Boniface Golf and Country Club. And I was on the course with him the day that his son beat him for the first time. And yeah, pretty cool moment, man. I look forward to the day that my son decides to put a little muscle into his drives and whips me on the golf course.
Well, as long as he doesn't get 115 speeding tickets in a year and a half, I think he'll be okay.
Who did that?
Ilya Kovalchuk.
Not in North America. There's no way he'd still have a license.
No, in Russia. Ilya Kovalchuk racked up.
They have speed limits in Russia? Since when?
Apparently. In the words of Sammy Hagar, I can't drive 55.
He can drive apparently 85. How fast is he going? Like, what are these tickets worth? Because I've had my fair share of speeding tickets. I collected them when I was younger, and I had to go to a few show cause hearings and, plead my case. But now I just collect parking tickets like an old man.
The report didn't have the speeding totals, just the fact that there's 115 tickets outstanding over the last year and a half. And I just thought to myself, like, what an icon he was style-wise. Just an incredible player, super gifted. I mean, how many 50-goal seasons did he have? And then he got traded for, it was Hossa who got traded for Danny Heatley, the Heat Daddy. But what a combo that was when they had Kovalchuk and Heatley together in the mid-2000s in Atlanta.
Well, I know it's strange, but Ilya Kovalchuk is part of Winnipeg Jet's history now.
Yep.
Because they took over all of the records and whatnot from the Atlanta Thrashers, so he is technically part of that history.
He's one of the all-time scorers for the Winnipeg Jets franchise, despite never playing a single game.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that great? He went to the Cup final with the Devils. He signed that 18-year contract that Commissioner Fund said, nope.
Yeah.
You can't do contracts that big. No, sir.
Yeah, that was, they really started pushing the envelope of that front-end loaded, back-end softy contract. And I think Luongo probably got the best of the deal on that one. And then after that, I was like, okay, no more of this.
Well, then you got Ricky DiPietro, who's still getting paid every July 1st. Friend of the show, Ilya Bryzgalov, I think until next year, he's getting paid every single July 1st. So not bad company to be in.
Well, I remember, and I know we've mentioned this on the show before, but I think Mario's contract, and we were talking Mario Lemieux, obviously, his contract got to the point where they're like, listen, we can't pay you. And he's like, I'll take percentage ownership. And that's how we kind of got into the ownership side of things. And yeah, there's a lot of different ways you can slice a pie. But these front-end loaded, all the pepperoni on one side, they're the way of the dinosaur now.
It's like Elon Musk stuff. I'll sleep on this beanbag chair for the next 2 years, just pay me in stocks.
Yeah, well, Mr. Beast is doing the same thing at his studio in North Carolina.
He's just sleeping on a beanbag chair, taking stocks, taking shares?
I don't know if you've seen the tour. It was actually Howie Mandel that did the tour of his place. But yeah, he lives at the studio. He's got a tiny, tiny little one-bedroom apartment tucked in the corner because he's always working.
I didn't know that.
No, the thing is, I mean, Mr. Beast is not going to get any taller when he stands on his wallet, but it's his net worth that really makes it impressive. Like he's worth over $1 billion, but he probably wouldn't be able to spring for lunch if you went out with him. No, it's true.
I wonder how he does for ladies. Like he just looks like your average run-of-the-mill dude.
He's got a girl. From what I understand, last time I checked, Mr. Beast had a girl, and apparently it was a very tumultuous process, had to check a lot of boxes. I don't know where it currently stands right now, but last I checked, he had a girl. And as much as she's on the sidelines, the relationship works because they understand.
Do you feel bad for celebrities that do that, where they have to get all the paperwork and all the ducks in order to try to protect their ass, just to try to find a little bit of love?
I don't know if bad's the right word. I mean, listen, they always say more money, more problems, but I think most people would say I would like to try some of those problems, but that's one of them. You know what I mean? I mean, Brad Pitt recently just came out saying it sucks when people want to know every little detail about your relationship. I mean, that's not easy, because especially when it ends up bad. I mean, what happened with him and Angelina.
She went off the deep end, didn't she?
We've seen what happened with guys like Evander Kane when things like that go public. I mean, but truthfully though, there is a certain amount of empathy, sympathy more so, but empathy for anyone that's been through heartbreak, right? And having it go through just your tight little social network or your social network online. Imagine it being the cover of every magazine. You know what I mean? Like that's not easy.
That'd be tough.
Yeah,
that'd be tough. I mean, how many times have you sat here sitting through it with me? Let alone if it was on like the front cover of GQ or a magazine like that.
Right?
That'd be tough.
Yeah, man, that's not easy.
You want to talk about some Winnipeg Jets? Speaking of on that topic, you mentioned before we even started the show, this was going to be one of the headliners for today. Please.
Okay. According to a handful of insiders, not only is Jonathan Toews ready for a comeback, he's making a comeback. Now, has he said it publicly? No. Has his agent said it publicly? No. But people who have spoke directly to his agent have said Jonathan Toews is 100% committed to making a comeback at 37 years old to the National Hockey League. And if anybody knows Jonathan Toews, and apparently this is not a direct quote, but a paraphrase from his agent saying, and if anyone knows Jonathan Toews, anytime he's 100% committed to something, it's happening. Now the question is, where does he go? Obviously, a lot of people are screaming, hometown boys got to come home. Got to get some of that home cooking, right? Winnipeg Jets is a perfect fit. Not only is it a perfect fit for the hometown, Winnipeg Jets are not going to have Adam Lowry to start the season going through hip surgery.
Yep.
That fills that third line perfectly. You can pay him close to league minimum for a veteran, which would be somewhere between $850 and $1 million. Pay him on bonuses for incentive-based contract. 1 year, 2 year. Any team would be crazy not to have a guy, a 3-time Stanley Cup champion, Jonathan Toews, on your third line. Yes, please.
Do you give him the C?
That's a conversation you have with Adam Lowry. That's if it's a Winnipeg Jet. Most other teams, yeah. I mean, how do you say no? I mean, he's wearing a letter no matter what. I mean, it looks like, from what I've been hearing, Nick Ehlers is not going to be returning to the Winnipeg Jets lineup. So that opens up a letter right away because Scheifele and Maurice, he's still going to wear one. I think Adam Lowry would, if he's the captain everyone thinks he is, he's not going to sit there and go, especially in the last year of his contract, to go, that guy is the captain. Whether he's wearing the C or not, he is the captain.
The real question is, do you think Taser leads the boys into the charge of 300 Main at Earl's after games? If Lowry's out and he's in crutches or he's not walking, someone's got to lead the fellas in the 300 Main.
Well, let's do the math. They said 5 to 6 months. So we had it in late May. So June, July, August, September, October, November, December.
Well, did they say it was double or single hip surgery?
They said 5 to 6 months. So at earliest November, December at the latest.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're what, 20, 30 games into the season by then?
So, yeah, Taser's got a 2-month head start heading into Earl's. October, November, September 2. You can walk in there with shorts and some flops. In the preseason, life's good.
300 Main, 1, 2, 3 for every Stanley Cup that he's won.
That's true. At the old watering hole, the old calibration station.
Look, here's the thing. Would Winnipeg love to have Jonathan Toews in a Jets jersey? Sure. I think a lot of people would think that makes sense. But I think there's a lot of other teams that would fight for it. I think there's a lot of teams that would probably pay a little bit more money.
Does he need the money, though? I don't think so.
No, he doesn't need the money. Absolutely not. Jonathan Toews will decide where he wants to play.
I always think of the Canadian Tire commercial. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where they're building the ice sculpture, and the Canadian guys or the Canadian Tire guy says,
What does the C stand for?
Crazy good. I'm here at Captain Jonathan Toews. What does the C stand for? Crazy good. All right, Captain. Like what? So cringy, but so clever. I thought it was fantastic. Great commercial.
I know Jonathan. I used to train with Jonathan. He is a wonderful human being, and Jonathan would not come back to the game if he wasn't ready. And we talked a little bit. We speculated a little bit on what the 2 years off could have been. You know, long COVID was floating around. Heartbreak was floating around. There was a few different things floating around. We don't know. We don't actually know. We were speculating like everyone else. What we do know now, again, speculating based on what we've heard, he's 100% ready to come back. 37-year-old Jonathan Toews is going to be a hot commodity this offseason.
Think he can help Connor Hellebuck make a couple saves?
I think he could certainly inspire him. I certainly think he could. If you want to talk Connor Hellebuck real quick, I was clear about this throughout the regular season. I kind of abandoned it because I was all in on the Jets when we started the playoffs. But the Winnipeg Jets need to realize Connor Hellebuck is not allowed to play more than 55 games next season. That is a hard cap on the amount of games he's allowed to play, period. I'm not going to say he was tired.
He looked like it in the playoffs.
But you have to at least put that in the equation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Find a viable backup. Eric Comrie might be the guy. I said it throughout the season. He took a lot of L's that he didn't deserve, but he was still one game sub 500 for the ones that he started.
I'm curious what was happening on the road because for whatever reason, he was, with the exception of the one game against Dallas at home, he was perfect at home. But for whatever reason, whatever they were doing on the road, wherever they were staying, rumor has it they were staying at the Delta in St. Louis and the Crest Hotel in Dallas. Whatever is in those hotels was not getting it done for him on the road. 794 save percentage on the road in the playoffs. Not good enough in that overtime winning goal. The media grilled him on the blocker save to the corner. I liked it. You did exactly what you're supposed to do as a goaltender. You make the save, you put in a low danger opportunity, let the guys win a puck battle. They didn't win the puck battle. I did my job. They didn't. But the puck comes out to Harley, and he's like leaking out. It's like he's in Vietnam, drifting in the no man's land off the beaches of Normandy, and just hoping to get hit. I didn't like it. It didn't look like he was all there on the overtime goal at the end of the season.
Look, I'm going to equate it to a golf game, the one that I had earlier today. My wife said, I can't hit the golf ball today. She goes, I've been playing golf on and off for 16 years. I can't hit the golf ball today. And I said, sometimes you get the yips. And once you get the yips, you start second guessing yourself. You start thinking, okay, well, I'll do it this way. This is the part of my swing that I know it's going to be. Goaltenders go through the same thing. I'm sure you could admit to that as well. There's just sometimes like, I know what I'm doing, but why isn't it working? Is it a slight little this there? Did I tighten the left skate too much? The right skate too much? You know, like you start questioning every little thing and it just gets into your noggin and you start spiraling.
Yeah, some days you don't have it. Some days you win. Some days you lose. Some days it rains. Right?
Thank you, TC Cummings.
To quote a famous Navy SEAL that's coming up on our summer interview series, we have so many fantastic guests. We have Jamie McLennan coming up this summer, Bill Ranford, Dale Weiss, Jamie Phillips as well. So many interviews starting June 29th. We're rolling all the way to the fall. And we've been stocking up on these over the course of this new year or this calendar year, and we can't wait to roll them out for you over the summer. But speaking of goaltending, the Dallas-Edmonton game, it finished up last night. We're recording on a Friday. On Thursday night, Oettinger goes 0 for 2. 2 goals, 0 stops, a 0 save percentage. For those keeping track at home, that's worse than my stats in the FPHL. Pete DeBoer gives him the old heave-ho, come back to the bench. It looked like he had the 1,000 cock stare in his eye of like, what is going on here? And then Peter DeBoer comes in the post-game media conference and just lights him up. This guy goes 6 of 7, 6 losses in 7 games in the last 7 to Edmonton. He's just not like, this is not good enough. We give you $8.25 million. And, I don't mean to, give myself a little pat on the shoulder, but hey, man, you get married over the summer, then your dog dies a little bit, maybe.
Look, there was a few guys that stepped up in that lineup. There was a few guys that didn't. There's a few guys that ghosted the entire team. I'm not saying the effort level wasn't there, just weren't getting the bounces. And to quote Joe Almighty or Evan Almighty or whichever one it was, Bruce Almighty, That's the way the cookie crumbles. Mm-hmm. I'm sure Pete DeBoer would have loved to get to a Game 7 since he has an unbeaten record.
9-0. We'll never know. Well, I mean, he would have had to win Game 6. Have you noticed, too?
Look, when it comes down to it, the All-Stars for Edmonton stepped up. The ones for Dallas didn't. Period.
The Moose was not on the loose. Well, he was on the loose walking the concourses of Game 5. We had no idea where he was, but I had this in the notes. Did you notice the OnlyFans chick behind Pete DeBoer for all the home games in Dallas? Did you notice that? The mommy milkers right behind the bench. She's on every camera angle. I noticed for Game 5, instead of going like this way, where she's in the background, they started filming the angle from this way. And she's on Instagram. She's promoting her OnlyFans day in, day out. Shout out Natalie. I've tried getting her to come on the show. She has declined every time. But
look, I think that there is a formula that was kind of created after Pamela Anderson was discovered at a BC Lions game, and we're on the eve of the CFL starting right away.
Go Blue! But
Pam Anderson was spotted at a BC Lions game at BC Place, and I think that kind of went, I can get tickets right behind the bench. You know what I mean? We look at what happened last year with the Edmonton Oiler fan and the
high beams
and the 15 minutes of fame that she achieved. Right, so. They're not dumb for doing it. I mean, look, what was that movie, Smile, that horror movie, where their promotion was people standing behind home plate at baseball games, just creepy smile and stuff. I mean, that's a prime location. How often do they pan behind the bench to these coaches trying to get, the look on their face, trying to get a little bit of a read on the poker game, right? It's not a dumb spot to be. My co-host, KFC, hired him to go hang out with the Colonel, and they sat them right behind the Jets bench for round one. Mm-hmm. That's not dumb. That's really not dumb.
That's not bad at all.
No. So, good on her. You can't falter.
I don't know if you noticed when the Oilers won Game 5 and they're doing their picture with the trophy, there was a streaker in the back. Did you notice that or no?
Was it Evander Kane?
No.
Was he getting ready for the Bunny Ranch?
No. Vander, your limousine's waiting outside of the loading dock.
We got the rolls. Let's roll.
No, the Rari fella, the Rari. We did the rolls game 1, 2, and 3. We're doing the Ferrari game 4 and 5.
No, I did not notice the streaker.
I love sports. I love sports so much.
Wait, was he getting ready for the handshake? Because everyone else is taking the handshake, according to Paul Maurice.
Do you want to get to that, or do you want to do a little bit of Oilers talk?
Whatever
first?
you want. Let's stick with the Oilers.
First off, on behalf of my co-host and I, we'd like to congratulate Mr. Connor McDavid and Lauren Kyle. They are pregnant, and they are expecting in, 6 to 8 months, roughly, however long it takes to baby, give or take. We're just fingers crossed it doesn't come out looking like a Vander Kane.
Congratulations to the McDavids. That is exciting news. And yeah, I still remember the day that I found out that my wife was pregnant, and brings a smile to my face every time, both times. So that's an exciting moment for the McDavid household.
I am very much looking forward to having that moment for myself in the future.
If either of them watch, can I give a quick and for anybody who's expecting their first child? Can I? And if you have a furry friend at home, if you have a dog at home. No, this is a quick little hack. As you know, I do dog psychology on the side as a side hustle. This is a really good hack. That dog doesn't really know what's going on, right? In the grand scheme of things, all of a sudden this new human shows up. What you want to do is, after the baby's born, whatever they swaddle the baby in, if you can get a hand on that after and get it home to the dog and let the dog smell it ahead of time, the dog's going to be able to figure it out. And I'll give you a perfect example of that. I did that when my first was born. And when we got home and with the baby in the carrier and everything, my mother was staying with us at the time, and she let our Great Dane out. And the Great Dane came out, and because the Great Dane was familiar with the smell of that swaddle, as soon as my wife came into smelling distance, she went right down on her back in a surrender position because she knew.
Really?
I'm telling you, get that swaddled blanket to your dog as quickly as possible. As quickly as possible. The transition will be a lot easier, because otherwise the dog's going to be like, there's a new human here. Who does it belong to? I don't know who this is. It is a hack that not a lot of people know about, and I highly recommend it. So if anyone could pass that along to the McDavids, please do, because I know they have a dog in the house.
Yeah, they have that big poodle.
Yeah.
Whatever its name is. Am I the only one?
Labradoodle, I think.
I don't know, like the big golden thing.
Yeah, it's a Labradoodle, I think. Yeah.
I find it so interesting because even though they're expecting, obviously he's not a virgin, but does he not strike you as this type of dude who he's a virgin, he's never kissed a girl, yes, he has Lauren as kind of like the accessory, and they have the home and they sleep in the same bed, but he's just so focused on hockey that he does not have any activities for ladies.
Let me put it to you in an analogy that I heard when I got into the broadcasting industry. Broadcasting has to be your wife, and anything after that is your mistress. And I think for Connor McDavid, hockey is his wife. And, this is no disrespect whatsoever to Lauren Kyle. That's her name, right?
Yeah.
No disrespect to her whatsoever. They are in love, obviously. But hockey has been his entire life. Everything that goes along with it, he won't fully understand the importance. He'll get it, but he won't fully understand the importance of his family until he's done with hockey. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying it'll be a come to God moment or anything, but hockey is his love. Period. And he shows that on and off the ice.
I wonder if he wins one in the next month, if he'll lighten up and you'll start actually seeing the real Connor McDavid. Because when I see Leon in the locker room or Hyman or guys like that, it seems like a really, really good locker room, and the boys are it's like a fun time in there, like a really tight-knit group. But then you see McDavid, at least I think to myself, I'm like, this guy looks like he has no personality. He's boring. He's just I have to score goals. We have to win. Obviously he gets excited, let's go, boys. Effing rights. Anytime I score.
Well, look, he's been conditioned since he was a young man. You're going to win a Stanley Cup. He was told that. You are the best player in this age group all the way through. You're the best player in the draft. You're the best player in the league. You're the best player in the playoffs. You're the best player in the locker room. You're the best player. You're going to win a Stanley Cup. So until he gets that Stanley Cup, he is unfulfilled. He is completely unfulfilled, and that is his only goal. Once people reach goals like that, they got to set a new one real quick, or else they're lost, because they've spent their entire life chasing that. And how old is he?
25?
Well, he was born in 97, right?
Yeah. So
is that where's the number?
Yeah, he's one less than me, so he's 27.
Okay. So Connor McDavid, I'm curious to see. You're right. There will be a change in him. Absolutely. Now, let's get into the weeds of that. Who do you like in this best of 7 final? The rematch. Because I'll preface it by saying, I think Connor McDavid learns from his mistakes. He's done that his entire life. So did he learn enough in that loss last year to get him over the hump?
That's the scariest part, though. Like, they look like a well-oiled machine. I feel like last year there was like we're going to try our best to win the conference final and get to the mug, and we're going to try to win it all. This year it looks like calm, cool, and collected. We're going
Really? Did you see their regular season?
No, as far as
they were up and down more than a roller coaster, for crying out loud.
As far as the playoffs go, even though they get rinsed,
they almost lost to LA.
I know. Skinner puts them down 2-0, and then Connor McJesus and Pride of Winnipeg, Calvin Pickard says, "Here we go." They go up 2-0 against Vegas. Skinner blows another game, and then McDavid turns it on. And even in the Dallas series, they're running roughshod over the Stars, like that nasty 2-on-1. McDavid,
the 3-on-1.
3-on-1, sorry. McDavid tomahawks the skates, opens up, gives it back to Leon, and then he just rips it top corner, nasty selling on Oettinger. Leon having the one-timers, basically from the boards, ripping it top shelf on Oettinger. And you got to feel bad for Oettinger, because I have a stat for you here. In the McDavid-Draisaitl era, they have faced 24 full-time goalies. Of the 24 full-time goalies, only 6 have put up a .900 save percentage or better.
And you know who one of them is? And I don't know your stats. I haven't seen this list, but I guarantee you Bob's one of them.
Bob was one of them, yes.
Okay.
Correct. And Bob, in my opinion, while I love my co-host, but as he's been giving clockwise rim jobs to Connor Hellebuyck and the Winnipeg Jets the past 2 months, under the radar, Sergei Bobrovsky has been above and beyond the best goaltender in the entire playoffs.
100%. And again, he's not... You dealt with Jake Oettinger. Before that, you had Aiden Hill.
Yep.
And before that, you had
Darcy Kemper,
who had comparable numbers to what Connor Hellebuyck had during the regular season.
Vezina nominee, too.
Okay, so we've got 2 Vezina nominees knocked out of the playoffs. Connor McDavid and the crew knocked out one.
McDavid or Hellebuyck?
Huh?
McDavid or Hellebuyck? You said goalies knocked out of the playoffs.
Yeah, so Connor McDavid's knocked out. He knocked out Kemper out of the playoffs. Okay,
Yep.
He didn't get a chance to see Connor Hellebuyck because of the second round.
Yep.
But he got Oettinger instead, who, was creeping up close to those numbers. Like, he could be in the conversation as far as a Kemper or a Hellebuyck. Now, in saying that, I think the Edmonton Oilers are running on a spare tire when it comes to their goaltender.
Oh,
No.
that's putting it nicely.
No, hear me out. It's been reliable, and it's gotten you down the road, but now you've been asked to empty the tank. You got to your destination. Oh, we need to go a little bit further. We need to go a little bit go. Is that spare tire going to hang on? Based on what we saw in the second round, you had to have the support of everybody, right? Because they went to the backup, and that worked out, thank goodness. And then he got injured. Skinner goes, the spare tire goes back on. Does the spare tire have enough mileage left in this finals? Again, Skinner's the X factor. He's the X factor again. He went down 3-0 last year, and then the boys stepped up and came back. Wasn't enough mileage on that spare tire. The exact same situation this year. So I'm going to ask you first, who wins, how many games, and what's the X factor? What's going to put whoever you pick over the top?
Edmonton has home ice. I think Edmonton wins the
Which
first.
is surprising. Surprising to think that.
I'm going to go Edmonton wins game 1, Florida wins game 2. The Panthers go up 3-1, and they close it out in 5.
Wow.
In Edmonton. I do think Florida will close it out in 5 or 6. I agree. Skinner is going to be the X factor. And can we just tip our hat to Stu Skinner for a second? This guy is making us look worse than you bouncing from your junior hockey girl from the single mom when you said peace out, later skater, left an upper decker and bounced. This guy, every game is either an 8-10 save percentage like he did in game 5 or a shutout. There's no in between.
Yeah. Look, I said this in my group chat, and keep in mind I'm dealing with a lot of Oiler fans and a lot of Albertans in this group chat that I'm in.
Did I know that story, by the way? Single mom with a kid, upper decker, see you later, alligator?
We've told the story. So
Is that spot on?
we've told that story.
Yeah.
When it comes to my group chat, I said part of me wants to take back everything I've said about Stuart Skinner, but I'm afraid if I do, then he'll go right back to the guy that I was chirping with and how this whole thing began. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm not willing to bet the farm on Stuart Skinner yet, but you're going with Panthers in 5.
Because Bob's reliable. The last 3 years, 34, 35, 36 years old, which is so old for a goaltender, and he's just gotten better. He's like a fine wine. He's so in control. He's so fluid. He has this flexibility and this end range of motion that nobody else has, and he's so fun to watch. Of all the goalies in the playoffs, Bob is easily my favorite. And to be honest with you, I don't mind watching Skinner. I think he's very clunky. And to be honest, Calvin Pickard, same thing. Not super sexy, not super fun to watch, but Bobrovsky is just such a treat to watch. Any fan of goaltending can appreciate the art and the precision that he has in his game. And he's never missing a post integration ever. He's always sealing from the bottom out. Some of the best active hands in the game, and the fact that, like we've covered it before, 165 pounds soaking wet, the most scrawny goaltender you've ever seen, but the shoulder strength to keep the hands active and always be picking pucks from the top corner. So flexible, so fun to watch. And to think that they were thinking about buying him out. 4 years ago, they were saying, let's buy Bob out. He sunk us in the 2020 playoffs. He wasn't great in the 2021 playoffs. I think it's time to move on. $10 million was too much, and what a mistake that would have been. He's been worth every single cent the last 3 years.
I don't disagree. And I think when it comes to Bob, there's not a lot of pressure on Bob. I know it sounds crazy.
You don't think so?
There's not a lot of pressure on Bob.
He's facing the best offense of the previous dynasty or previous generation.
Hear me out. Bob, is there pressure on Bob? Sure. Bobrovsky, as Jay Onright always said. Is there pressure on him? Sure. Is he feeling it? No. Nope. Doesn't care. And I'll tell you why. He's already got the mug. Again, this is that European mentality of, yeah, I want to play the best hockey possible and I want to win. Mm-hmm. It's not, I want to win a Stanley Cup. It's like, I want to win. But Europeans, more often than not, really care about the world championships. That's a big focus for them, right?
Is Russia part of Europe? I don't think so, no? Russia's part of Asia.
In that part of the world.
Okay.
Pardon me. I won't, not European, but people over there. Like Russians probably even less than Europeans, truthfully. But he's already got it. He's already proven himself. He can go back to Russia and they will throw ticker tape parades for him, right? So there's not a lot of pressure on him. He already has the win. And I think that gives him the edge because there's a lot of pressure on Skinner, and I guarantee you he feels it because of what happened last year and because he's a hometown boy and because of all the scrutiny on him. He's got to prove a lot of people wrong because if he loses again this year, oh, man, he'll be hard-pressed to find a job.
And Carter Hart, funny enough, will probably be innocent, and he'll be coming in to take the job from Stu Skinner. So
possibly. Here's where I give the edge. You know how much I love a good psychological argument, right? Mm-hmm. Here's where I give the edge. I think the coaching is going to be the edge. I think Paul Maurice is head and shoulders above Chris Knobloch. Head and shoulders. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying Knobloch's a bad coach. He's not. But he is blessed with an all-star lineup. He really, really is.
I mean, my mom could slot in there and coach a good power play.
I agree. You look at the coaches they've had, and they've had a lot of success. I think Paul Maurice is an absolute mastermind when it comes to not only the team that he has, but the way he coaches them, the way he deals with them, the way he speaks about them, the way he speaks to them. Mm-hmm. I think that is the X factor that is not being spoken about enough.
What do you think about that quote? We're the type of team, sometimes we say a prayer, sometimes we drink a beer. That's our type of team.
Mic drop. It's an absolute mic drop. And that goes to show that Paul Maurice isn't my way or the highway. He rides the vibe. He absolutely rides the vibe. And guys look at him and go, I'll play for that guy. Every guy in that Panthers locker room goes, I'll play for that guy. Most of the guys in the Edmonton Oilers locker room are playing for Connor McDavid.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
I feel like he's the one that dictates what the team does or doesn't do. The coach and the GM are completely irrelevant. It's what McDavid and probably to a degree what Draisaitl want to do.
Well, look at it this way. You've got, outside of Paul Maurice being the coach, who do you think the de facto leader is on that team, on the Florida Panthers?
Oof. I feel like they're like a unit.
Exactly.
Marchand, Tkachuk, Bobrovsky, Reinhart,
Barkov.
Ekblad. Maurice. Like they're
Bennett.
all working together as one single unit,
Right.
as opposed to the
Ekblad.
McDavid train.
Yeah.
But we saw it, especially in Game 5 last year, when like him and Leon get this look when they get pissed off. It's like the scariest thing in the world when these two guys are mad and they're going to turn it on. It doesn't matter how bad Skinner is the next game. We're going to take it all the way. And to think, imagine if they actually had a good goaltender. They'd probably be undefeated at this point in time. I don't think they lose 2 games to the Kings. They don't lose the 1 game to Vegas. I don't think they lose the first game to Dallas. Is that not fair to say?
I think it's very fair to say. I think skill can take you very, very, very far. Absolutely. My old roommate who won a Calder Cup in the American Hockey League with the Chicago Wolves, he told me about halfway through the season, he goes, we're going to win this year. And I said, why? And he goes, I can't explain it to you. He goes, but there's times where I've been sitting on the bench and the captain will just look down and he'll look at a few guys and go, hey, we're going to win this game. And you just kind of go, yeah, you're right. We're down 3 goals, but we're going to win this game. And it was just, you just had this feeling. You just had this, this belief. And I think McDavid and Draisaitl, and there's a few guys that have that can really dictate the game. Mm-hmm. But you're going up against the Florida Panthers. As they always say in boxing, you can't tie the champ. You got to beat the champ. And I'm really curious to see if they got it in them. But I think the edge goes to coaching.
What's your prediction? You didn't give a prediction.
In my group chat, I said Panthers in 7. I think it's going to be. It might be
7.
It might be very close to an exact carbon copy of what we saw last year.
Go out 3-0, then come back.
Yeah, but I think it might be Panthers in 6. I think they'll split in Edmonton. I think the Panthers will take both games in Florida, and I think they'll end up winning it at home in Florida.
I still love all Oilers fans got mad when we were talking about the wake up, dig in. And I said, that looks so feminine. He's having like a hissy fit in the locker room after game 2. Hopefully we won't see any more of those. But
yeah, no, look, that's not his job. And I think if Connor McDavid has to step up and do that, he's the type of guy that fires guys up by leading by example. That's how he fires guys up, not by pulling a Mike Babcock. And
let me see your phone.
Yeah, well, no, but Mike Babcock as far as like everyone lock in right now. You know, like he's not that guy, and I don't think Knobloch is either.
Hey, Dre, let me see your phone. Let me put your photo album on the airplane on the TV. Let's let all the boys see what you got on there. I get where he was going with that. I totally understand it. Execution fell a little bit short.
It's a different generation, man.
Yeah. Hurricanes fans, I have a stat for you. The Buffalo Sabres have one more conference final win than the Carolina Hurricanes do since the year 2006. And for any Canadians listening that voted for the Liberals 4 weeks ago that have half a brain cell to rub together, I want to remind you that 2 wins is more than 1. Therefore, Carolina has 1 less win than the Buffalo Sabres, for those keeping track at home.
And look, that's a great stat, but the Liberals, I believe, have now 4 wins in a row.
Yep.
Just for the record. Throwing it out there. Not saying I'm happy about it, but they got 4 in a row.
We have voicemails. Do you want to get to them?
Right now? Yeah, you don't want to talk about the whole handshake thing? Speaking of Rod Brendamore and the Carolina Hurricanes?
Go for it. We'll go to the voicemails.
And this kind of, again, goes to... I'm going to be frank with you. I'm going to be honest. It absolutely drives me crazy that not only did the Winnipeg Jets have to watch Dustin Byfuglien walk out of the organization and leave that locker room, they let Paul Maurice walk out of that locker room. I can't think of another coach that walks out towards the tail end of the season and says, and didn't burn the bridge, did not burn the bridge on the way out, said, that team, I love that team, but that team needs a new voice for success. My voice is not cutting through the clutter here. And to be able to recognize that, you know what I mean? Like, and the fact that the owners and management understood and had enough respect for him to go, you're right, someone's got to change here, and it needs to be a group change. The fact that Paul Maurice went to Florida, made the finals in his first year, lost to Vegas, won last year against the Edmonton Oilers. There was a lot of hubbubaloo. There could have been a big dust up in the media room, and the headlines could have ran with it. Paul Maurice, not only does he manage the locker room well, he manages the media well, really well. And he's not just dealing with the Florida media. He's dealing with the National Hockey League media in the playoffs. So he's dealing with all of them. And they said, hey, saw that you and Rod Brendamore had quite the conversation there after Game 5, after you won. What was going on there? And Paul Maurice just basically wrapped that room around his finger and said, yeah, let me explain it to you. I've never understood why coaches and training staff and all the other people go out and shake hands. Here are a bunch of guys that just fought tooth and nail. Like, they're not sending Christmas cards to each other. They just fought tooth and nail, and they're man enough to go out there at center ice and shake hands. One team season's done. The other one's excited, and they go out there, and they're on even keel, and they shake hands, and they look each other in the eye. Why does a bunch of guys in tracksuits who nobody knows who they are have to go out and shake hands? And he actually equated it to, I'm pretty sure when the cameras are on, some coach way back in the day thought, I want to shake Wayne Gretzky's hand. And that's probably how it started. And he went over and he talked to Berube about it. And he convinced Berube in Toronto, saying, hey, don't shake the players' hands, and he agreed to it. And he goes, Brendamore and Berube both played, so they get it. And he says, I understand what Paul Maurice is saying. That shouldn't happen. It should be between the players. Coaching staff can go and have their own little handshake line. That's cool, but that should be for the players. And the way he handled it, the whole media kind of went, yeah, you're right. You're right, Paul. Yeah. And that was it. It was done. It was done. And that is even more evidence that Paul Maurice has the edge in these finals.
I couldn't agree more. You want to do some voicemails?
Okay.
And a friendly reminder, if you want to join the show, we would love to hear your voice. We have a voicemail line. There's a link in the video description. You click that. You do not need a cell phone number. You call it at any point in time. You get 90 seconds to say whatever you want, positive or negative, whatever you think. We'd love to hear it. Preferably don't swear too much, but even if you do, I can censor it. And we look forward to listening to your voicemail on our show. Let's begin.
Guys, we're talking about Tyler Seguin being the Johnny Manziel of the NHL. I will have to respectfully disagree. It would have turned out like that if Tyler Seguin didn't get traded to Dallas. Really was a wake-up call for him, turned his career around. He was falling down a pretty slippery slope when near the end in Boston. And I'm from the same town as him, and I heard a lot of stories about habits, I guess you could say. And it could have gotten pretty bad. He could have turned into Johnny Manziel, but he got the wake-up call. And anyways, that's my opinion on that. Take care, boys. Ciao.
Thoughts?
Yeah, he's not wrong.
Thanks for the call.
Yeah, a lot of times guys need to change the scenery and some different people to lean on.
Hey guys, it's Jeremy over in Michigan. Just wanted to see what your thoughts were with Dallas and Carolina not getting to the finals again. What do you do internally with those teams? Especially Dallas has some players kind of moving along in years. Do they need to look at the Panthers and take out some players and bring in someone who can get them over the hump? Just curious on your thoughts. Thanks. Great show.
I think both those teams need rats.
Brad Marchand, yeah.
I said it before, man. I mean, look at the Edmonton Oilers. They got Corey Perry. I mean, you want to punch your tickets to the finals? Sign Corey Perry. Teams that overlook Corey Perry for the last 6 years, they're eating it right now.
5 of the last 6 Cup finals, he's been in it.
Yep. And he hasn't won one since he was with the Anaheim Ducks, but still, like that could get him. It's crazy to say, that could make Corey Perry a first ballot Hall of Famer. It really could.
If he wins one?
Not even just that many Cup appearances in a row. That's bloody impressive, man.
With Dallas losing to Tampa, with Montreal losing to Tampa, with Tampa losing to Colorado.
The last guy I can think of that did that many runs in a row was Skip Craig.
Hossa too.
Hossa, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh, Detroit, and then Chicago, he won it.
Wow.
Remember that one?
That's something.
Need some goaltending too. Oettinger was not good enough in the series.
Yeah, well.
Tough with McDavid and Draisaitl.
I pray for the day that goaltenders are being looked at in the top 1, 2, or 3 overall draft picks. You know what I mean? Like I remember when goaltenders were going number 1 like crazy.
Fleury, Lettinen, DiPietro.
Yeah.
Ricky D.
Yeah, I look forward to those days again.
Hey guys, this is Barry calling in from Grand Prairie, Alberta.
Hey.
I have a question that's directed towards Travis. I was just wondering if being a semi-pro goaltender has equipped him with the stamina and skill set to get through a situation like what happened with Junior Team Canada there with however many guys in a row. Travis, could you break this down? Like, perhaps if you didn't have the stamina, do you think you could like get sandwiched in between the two queen mattresses, sort of being like half suspended in the air, like a farm animal that has to be worked on or artificially bred? Like, I don't know. Like, what are your thoughts?
Well, listen, Travis has a hard, kind of like Carter Hart, he has a hard time making saves when people are watching.
Thanks for the call. Like a farm animal. Next call.
Hey, what's up, boys? Big fan of the pod.
Thank you.
I'm just curious if you guys have an update on RA. I think it was around roughly this time last year. It's coming up on the anniversary of what happened at the Cup final, but obviously the boys have replaced him with Yandel. I'm curious if there's any update on him coming back, his health and well-being, and what you guys are hearing going forward.
Well, man,
Thanks, and keep up the great work.
we got to eat some words. I mean, you and I sat here a year ago saying, tip of the hat to the guys that spitting chicklets. They're standing by RA. They're going to be loyal. They're going to be honorable about the dude who started the show. And granted, he's maybe not the greatest guy to have as your lead host in the show, but they're being honorable and respectable because he started all of it. And the fact that they have just said whatever, kicked him to the curb like a runaway in Toy Story, like Jesse in Toy Story 2. See you later. Just left him in a box hanging there. Replaced him with Keith Yandel, and it doesn't seem like they want to talk about it. We got to eat some words here because we thought they were going to be respectful about it. They have not been.
Well, maybe they are on the back end. Maybe he's still getting a cut.
Maybe there's a lawsuit.
We don't know. We don't know. We have no idea. The show's still doing great. We hope the best for RA. Haven't heard nothing. Not a thing. But we hope for the best.
I invited RA to come on the show. I never heard back. Well, I did hear back, but I didn't get the answer saying, yes, we'll come on the show.
Gotcha.
RA, Rear Admiral, you're welcome to come on the show anytime, my friend.
I'm a Jets fan, and I want you guys to just tell me, what do you think is gonna happen?
Yeah. Okay. So great question, and I'll be the foremost authority on this one because obviously I'm a little biased to the Winnipeg Jets. I don't think Nick Ehlers is coming back. I really don't. I think his injuries and his price tag that he's going to want, I think he's going to be a better fit somewhere else. And I think the Jets, as much as they will love Nick Ehlers and they'll probably have him back for puck drops 20 years from now and whatnot, and the fans will remember Nick Ehlers because he had a great impact. I don't think he's coming back. You mentioned Morgan Barron and Tanev and Samberg. As much as I love those guys, those are the kind of guys that you pick up on the waiver wire, or the types of guys that you pick up in free agency that you can pick up on a dime. You know what I mean? Like when it comes to replacing Nick Ehlers, there are guys out there that they're willing to spend $7, $8, $9 million on. Like a Mitch Marner is going to be available. That's not out of the realm of possibility.
He ain't coming to Winnipeg. His agent said no Canadian teams.
You know what? Screw him.
To quote Mitch Marner's agent, he said Canada will become the 51st state before we re-sign with the Canadian team. It ain't happening.
Yeah, well, I've seen crazier things happen, and I think the Jets would not be at least. I think they're due to at least give him an offer sheet. Give it a shot. I think especially if Velarde bounces, and we lose Ehlers, there's lots of cap room for Marner. You could make him an $11 million guy. Other teams don't have the cap room to do that. The Winnipeg Jets have the cap room. They may be willing to reconsider.
Is Samberg gone too?
Possibly he might be. We don't know for sure.
Oh man, oh no. The Winnipeg Jets won't have any hockey wives making TikToks anymore.
Okay,
what will we do?
Next call.
I have a question. You guys always talk about hockey and politics at the same time. Why don't you just stick to one or the other? I feel like you guys would have a lot more success if you either talked about hockey or politics. I feel like you guys are kind of involving the wrong two fan bases. I feel like if you guys talked about either or, you guys would have a better time. Just asking.
Okay. Which one do you like better? I'll put it back to you.
Leave a comment down below. Do you want a political show or do you want a hockey show? Or do you want a little bit of both?
What do you like better? What do you like? What do you want to hear? What are you more engaged in? Curious to know. Asking for a friend.
Who'd you vote for?
Yo, Trav and Mr. Dave. This is Roger from Connecticut. Just a couple of questions for you lad there, the one with the f***ed up teeth and the big head. So, I just got to know, do you have, any idea, what actually happens in the world? Are you too far up Pierre Poilievre's ass to actually figure shit out? I got to know. You talk this big talk, but yet you got cut from a C-League men's division. I just don't understand, man. Dave, you're a good guy. Low-key mess with you. But Travis, Man, I'd rather marry a pig before having a conversation with you in person because you absolutely piss me off.
For the record, it's a lot easier getting up Pierre Poilievre's ass these days because he's not sitting down a whole lot. For the record, I did the math. The earliest Pierre could get back into the House of Commons is August
of this year.
That's the earliest he could get a seat back.
And rumor has it Carney still won't have answered a question by then.
Okay.
Also, by the way, he may have to marry a pig. He doesn't sound too enjoyable. It doesn't sound like he has too much game with the ladies, so you may have to settle for something in that ballpark.
Reminds me of that old Black Mirror episode with the politician and the pig.
Ooh.
Here we go.
Hope everyone's doing good on your guys' end. Hope everyone's good. Travis, hope your vacation's good. David, hope family's good. See you heading golf, David, in the swings like Donald Trump, you know.
Dressed like him too.
All right, boys. Just want to touch on the Oilers. What do you guys think is the biggest problem with the Oilers besides goaltending? Do you think,
coaching,
obviously the big picture we all know that Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl carry that team, but do you guys think that team, is like Toronto, like it's all just hype at the end of the day? Like teams like Dallas and Florida are actually like in the small picture of it actually look like the team to actually be in the final? Or do we just live in some fantasy world when it comes to hockey? 2 players or 4 players can save a franchise. And, it's all about money and status at this point. That's what I think, but, what you guys think about, like, teams like Dallas and Edmonton and shit like that?
I think the NBA has the ability to bring in a generational game changer day one out of the NCAA, coming in and changing your team and going from a sub 500 team to a 650, 700 team, like overnight. I don't think hockey's the same way. Hockey's not. You can't just bring in one guy and be a non-playoff contender and then be a playoff contender the next year on one guy.
Have they missed the playoffs since McDavid's joined? I don't think so. They missed it all beforehand, but
they haven't.
Yeah,
but they don't have a mug yet.
Almost missed it this year. Actually, I think they're like 4 points away from missing the playoffs.
I know.
You have any more voicemails?
That's it. That's all we got.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for the voicemails. As always, if you want to join the show, there's a link to call in at any time, any place, 2 a.m., 2 p.m. We'd love to hear your voice on our show. This is Stuck on the Biscuit. We do new episodes every single Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 in the prairies of Winnipeg, 9 in the foothills of Calgary, 8 in the Pacific Northwest. The show is on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, Rumble. The full version is on Twitter.
MySpace.
As long as the clips.
Are we on MySpace?
Not yet. We have the Instagram clips, the TikTok clips, the Shorts channels. We are everywhere. Subscribe. Let us know what you think. Leave a review on Apple and Spotify. And this good-looking man, after I peel him off the sidewalk again next week, will be back for next week's episode every single Sunday. Thanks for watching.